In an attempt at not losing yet another Summer Blooming Phalaenopsis, I'm going to address my Tabasco text while at the same time do an update on the remaining novelty hybrids that I have left. It is so nice to be able to welcome you to the patio and know that I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for your company. So what is left of my Tabasco text is in actual fact the Keiki, which the mother plant grew before she collapsed. I would like to remove as much of the old stem as possible and get the limited roots the Keiki has into some lava rock so as to be able to keep them hydrated as best as possible without getting too close to the stem with a mister. Also, there is just no need for such a large pot anymore. It's going to be a bit of a fiddle cleaning the stem up, removing the bracts, etc. because I could not dampen that area at all. So while I fiddle with this, let me show you an update on my KTC Khaokitchakut, which I thought was history 2 winters ago. What you see here is a Keiki that grew from a stem that had no leaves left. All that was left of this orchid was a viable green spike and a little green nubbin that I figured may turn into a Keiki given half a chance. Still, I had no hope for this one to survive, also because she's such a slow grower. My warm enough season for these novelty hybrids is not long enough for a slow growing orchid to recover before the too cold season starts again. To my surprise, we have leaves. No sign of new roots, and while she is in a broken pot, there is no way I'm disturbing this orchid to get her into something that looks a little more presentable. I see no signs of new roots, but clearly the roots of the mother plant are doing something to provide for this Keiki, and well, until such a time that new roots grow, if they grow in time before this Keiki collapses, this little Keiki will stay in the pot. Now, if you're new to the channel, you may wonder why I have my summer phals in the state that they are in. All these phals arrived in 2018 and they should be much larger, much prettier, and much floriferous. Well, in short, since 2020, I do not use supplemental lights during the winter anymore, nor do I help them through 4 months of adverse conditions by using heat mats, both of which summer blooming phals would appreciate starting November through to April here in southern Spain. My indoor temperatures drop to 14 degrees Celsius for an extended period of time, and the amount of light they get is maybe 30 minutes if the sun shines. And this current fall winter, we have had no sun for at least 8 weeks. And if it was not overcast in the morning, let's say the sun was shining in the morning, by the afternoon, when the sun would reach these orchids on the shelf they are on, it would be overcast. In addition to that, you see that I have them in leca. Leca has this wonderful side effect called evaporative cooling, and I'm being facetious here. Anyway, this evaporative cooling drops the temperature around the root system down even further to a degree, and I always guesstimate a 3 degrees Celsius temperature differential in the pot compared to what the ambient temperature could be. So if my grow space has 14 degrees Celsius, then I calculate that the temperature around the roots possibly around 11 degrees Celsius. For that reason, I'm going to switch the media for this orchid to lava rock when she is totally cleaned up. Before I update you on the next novelty Phalaenopsis, would you please do me a solid and give this video a thumbs up? Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, it goes without saying that I would be ever so grateful to you for subscribing. Thank you so very much. Now, this is Yins Black Eagle, and I thought this orchid was history during the winter of 23 and 24. It dropped 2 leaves so fast even before the winter proper kicked in. However, she's still holding on. A reoccurring theme you will see in all the pots is salt buildup at the surface. This is because I'm very limited on how often I can flush. Can I even flush properly? Because water will cool the roots down as well. So this is not salt buildup because I am still fertilizing this group of orchids. This is salt buildup from not being able to flush the pots efficiently or at all. And the nutrients that went into the pot before winter proper kicked in were not absorbed. You see, what I could not predict was the terrible conditions we had to deal with during October and November of 2024, where darkness, dampness, and very high humidity, all of those were overwhelming. For that reason, the nutrients I put in at the end of September just sat in the reservoir without going anywhere other than leaching to the surface. However, unless I see a root tip actually heading for the pot, I'm not doing much about this issue, with the exception of removing the most offensive leca from the surface. So next up is Liodoro Sweet Memory, which also grew a second plant on the stem of the mother plant. But I still have the mother plant. Needless to say, I'm relieved I have not lost Mama yet, especially after she scared me when she dropped 2 leaves all within 3 weeks. I really wish I could address this group of orchids based on what I see needs to be done, but that kind of stress would definitely take them out this time of year. I still have one viable spike on my Sweet Memory. If we get lucky, maybe we shall have 1 bloom, not entirely sure. This orchid used to spike with 3 spikes and have a beautiful display of blooms. Those days are long gone. This is now all about survival. Maybe you also notice the pitting on one of the leaves at the base. That is the mother plant, and that is cold damage from the winter of 22-23, when that leaf was brand new and the cold temperatures did their thing on the new cells because they had not hardened off enough. Next up is my Cornu-cervi variety Chattaladae. Now this orchid, she is very important to the channel because she is the one that I grow for the Orchid Ninjas. And the reason I picked this orchid for the Orchid Ninjas is her blooms smile back at me. And the support of Orchid Ninjas does exactly that to me. It puts a smile on my face. So this orchid is to honor the Orchid Ninjas and their support, and I cannot be more grateful that while she could grow bigger and better, I still cannot be more grateful that she is still around and not looking too shabby considering the circumstances. If you would like to be a part of helping my orchids live a better life, maybe becoming a member of this channel is something I can encourage you to do. Big question mark. It would be greatly appreciated because I am sure that I'm not alone when it comes to seeing orchids decline and not being able to do anything about it and feeling terrible. So any additional support like that would help me help my orchids. Thank you for taking that option into consideration. And you can see this orchid wants to grow roots. She's not shy about growing roots, but because of the lack of light, there is no energy in her to photosynthesize and continue growing those roots. Same with the low temperatures. As a form of self-preservation, everything stops developing within my Chattaladae as well as the others. Still, once again, she too is still around, and I just have to remind myself I need to continue to be grateful for that. Especially now that she's designated to Orchid Ninjas specifically. I am anxious for her long-term well-being. Alrighty, let's get a smaller pot and get my Tabasco Tex Keiki situated in lava rock. Still in a self-watering setup because during the summers my humidity average is 30%. But now, without the side effect of evaporative cooling because lava rock does not have that characteristic. And seeing as the lava rock was completely dry and the roots of this orchid never touched any media in their previous pot, a little drizzle of water just to create a little moisture for the roots to absorb is in order. This is not to fill the reservoir. It is just to ensure that the existing, once previously growing in the air roots, that they hydrate a tad. And now we wait. Well, I wait. Vamos a ver. Fingers crossed. Just one quick visual on my pulchra though. She is mounted, appears to be holding on in her basin, which has some residual water in it from the misting I do very carefully on some roots. Not all, and only every 2 or 3 days does she get some misting on the roots. Really being mindful of staying far away from the stem. And the keiki at the stem So far, so good. It's a very delicate operation every 2 or 3 days, and it makes me nervous. So far, I'm not seeing any issues with the exception that all active root growth has ceased to be. So for another 3 months, maybe more, this group of orchids is going to struggle. They are as close to the light as I can get them without burning the leaves, because the closer I get to the glass, the warmer it can be, but the sun will scorch the leaves as they are just not strong enough in their cell structure to have any resilience at all. Also, while the day temperatures may be agreeable, the glass can get rather chilly at night. So this is the best I can do for them in the hopes that we do not lose a single one moving forward. I hope that you enjoyed the repot and the update combo. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you specifically for watching to the end, as you give me the opportunity to wish you a wonderful day. However, I attach a condition to that, and that is that you stay safe. Take care. Bye.